Passive Exile 2 Dawn of the Hunt will have 5 new Ascendancies, and I found every part of their skill tree. The first one, Amazon. Let's find out what she will be able to do, and there's a lot of stuff. So let's go with the bottom branch, I guess. Let's go with the bottom branch, this node, and it will just add accuracy. Yeah, so this bottom branch for accuracy. How these big nodes will interact with accuracy? We will get critical strikes, so chance to hit with attacks can exceed 100%. This means if you have more than accuracy more than you need, you can have more chance to hit than 100%, and this excessive chance to hit will be converted to critical hit chance, equal to 25% of excess chance. So if we can have 200% chance to hit with our attacks, we can get pretty nice power with critical hit chance, with additional critical hit chance, and never miss. You know what? While it doesn't sound really insane, considering we can have a lot better stuff in other classes, I would say this is a great node, because all weapons you get in Passive Exile 2 always bricks into weapons with nice and big accuracy, and no one needs accuracy. Finally, we get a class that depends on accuracy, on excessive accuracy actually. Now all bricked weapons can be really powerful, and in my opinion actually this part over here can be useful even if you play in Huntress not with your basic weapon, not with the spear. So this accuracy can work with something like water stuff, for example, and we will see what we get later. So later we get this node over here, and this will give us penetration, ability to penetrate as Amazon. Okay. Attacks using your weapons have added physical damage equal to 25% of accuracy rating on the weapon. Okay, so we will have added physical damage equal to our accuracy. Again, accuracy won't break your weapons as Huntress at least. And as Amazon, to be more precise. Yeah, it's Huntress Ascendancy, don't forget it. And this sounds pretty cool. Okay, it's pretty basic, passive part of the tree, but it can be useful in some builds. Here, what we will have here? Here we will have skill speed. Okay, she will be able to use skills faster. Again, kinda, you can play it as Amazon, you can play it as Monk, I guess, with quarter stuff. I guess Hunters with bow also can be pretty useful. So, nice physical damage class. And here she will have Predatory Instinct. Reveal weakness against rare and unique enemies. 50% more damage against enemies with open weakness. We saw it in Reveal, basically, what it looked like. And basically we'll do a little bit more damage, 50% more to be more precise, but only at a little bit of percent. So it's not like you see unique enemy and you will start dealing 50% more damage. You will deal 50% more damage only at the point of health bar that is weakened. It's not super OP, but it's fine. And last part of this tree will be in for the kill. So it will be 20% increased movement speed while enemy with open weakness is in your presence. And 40% increased skill speed while enemy with open weakness in our presence. That's actually pretty cool. So, if you're building someone who just need to go and run maps pretty fast, and you want physical class, not like mage with Temporalis who blinks all over the place, and I guess they will nerf Temporalis, I just guess it, but whatever. It can be a pretty fun and fast class, if this movement speed will trigger off monsters, or in your presence basically. So, the next branch will be Evasion branch. We got 20% increased evasion, which is nice buff, and we will have elemental infusion over here. So this will grant us skill infuse weapon. When you consume power charge, trigger infuse weapon to gain 2 cold infusion. Basically, when you consume power, endurance, or frenzy charges, you will have cold fire or lightning infusion. This opens up for a bunch of different cool builds. And coolest part, basically, as far as I can understand, we will get charges, and we can actually check it. I got this screenshot over here, infuse weapon. So, how it will work? Basically, grants your weapon infusion. Projectile attacks with that weapon consume infusion to infuse the first projectile fired, causing it to explode at the end of its flight. So, we will get 2 infusions per, power charge. And most importantly, it will work when you consume power charge. So you consume power charge for some like different reasons, like you infusing your weapon, like you activating your charge stuff, for example, like frenzy stuff, and then you will get cold, fire, or lightning infusion, and this means converts to 100% physical damage to cold, fire, lightning damage. So first of all, that's cool. It's only projectile based, so we can't play like melee, I guess, because it's infused projectile attacks. So it can be used, for example, as Amazon with the bow. It will be really powerful. And what I see over here is what I'm really hyped about. We got attack damage 600% over here at level 20, and 600% is a lot. It's pretty big. So if we can find a way to have a lot of power charges, frenzy charges triggering all the time, we can infuse our weapon all the time and fire projectiles infused with basically quadruple damage of our base attack. And that's big. That can be big, but we need to find how it will work in the game later. And final part of this evasion tree is infused avatar. 50% chance to infusion to not be consumed when infusing projectile. Again, it's kinda quality of life, I guess. We need to find out how it will play out, but basically it will give us ability to keep infusion for longer and be sure that we get in like this infusion all the time on all our attacks. Then top right part of the tree. So here we got evasion, a little bit of evasion, extra evasion, and Stalking Panther. Stalking Panther is evasion rating from your equipped helmet, gloves and boots is doubled. Evasion rating from your equipped body armor is halved. I would say it's pretty like weak stuff, pretty weak, but it can be insanely overpowered if you're going for something like maybe some uniques or maybe some hybrid build. For example, you're going with basic armor that will give you only energy shield, only armor, like whatever. This means you won't have debuff from Stalking Panther and you can double evasion rating from your helmet, gloves and boots. That can be big, can be like awful that you never take, but pretty interesting what people will come up with this node. I don't know if I will play Amazon, we will find out when we check ritualist skills, but right now let's check out what's here. So here we have flask recovery, okay, it will give us more recovery from flasks, and also Ascendancy Brew. Ascendancy Brew makes life flasks all recover mana and vice versa, mana flasks also recover life. This is pretty cool. In some situations, in some builds we can make this stuff work, but most of the time I don't think it's like the stuff that you will go for as Amazon. Maybe some niche builds, maybe, we will see. So, Life Leech, increased amount of Life Leeched. Over here, Last Branch and Mystic Harvest. Life Leech recovers based off your elemental damage as well as physical damage. That's a big one, only if they will buff Life Leech. Right now Life Leech is pretty weak. They explained why it's weak, because if you make Life Leech very powerful, then they kinda need to buff monsters so they can strike through your Life Leech and at least have ability to destroy your character. But if you buff monsters with a high and powerful Life Leech, other defensive layers would be obsolete, so they will be useless basically. Makes sense, makes sense. Now let's take a look at our second screenshot over here, and that's all skills that Huntress will have right now from release. We won't stop over here for too long, but let's see what's in here. There's Disengage, basically we jump away from enemies. Whirling Slash, we basically whirlwind and attack in the circle around us. Twister to launch tornadoes. If you launch tornadoes in Whirling Slash, you will launch multiple tornadoes. And Explosive Spear, you basically throw spear, it will explode. It's a really long time to explode, so I don't think it's powerful skill right now, but we will see. Maybe we can use some support gems so that decrease time it take to explode, and it will be useful, but whatever. So Spear Field, Lightning Spear, Fangs of Frost, Rake, I don't know, we need to find out, is this like projectile or just melee attack? It can be pretty powerful like melee frost attack. We can build like frost Amazon or whatever, but it looks like lightning Amazon still will be the best choice right now, but at least we got some blood options. Bloody builds can be really useful too. Rake, Bloodhound, Bloodhound Merc, definitely stuff that will increase power of our bleeding, but we'll see can we actually make this bleeding work. So what I'm hyped about is last part. We got, of course, Thunderous Leap. Again, it's pretty cool, can be pretty cool for Lightning Huntress and Elemental Huntress. Elemental Thundering can do different elemental attacks. And my favorite, Spear of Solaris. It should look insanely cool, fun, and probably my build for Huntress will be Spear of Solaris Boss Melter, something like this. So here we got 2 skills for Ritualist, Blood Boil and Ritual Sacrifice, but first of all, let's find out our friend Ritualist. She called Primalist actually, over here. And this is another way of playing Huntress, another Ascendancy. It's Dark Chaos Ascendancy. Let's see what she can do. So let's go with the top part first, and we have 20% increased physical damage. Pretty cool. And skill Blood Boil. So yeah, if you just get your Ascendancy, you can get this skill instantly, increase your damage, and get Blood Boil. What Blood Boil will give us? So, enemies in your presence accumulate Blood Boils periodically. When they die, they boils pop, applying corrupted blood to enemies near them. So basically there's a lot of text, but you defeat enemies, they blow up and dealing damage over time to enemies around. And this can accumulate pretty quickly, I guess, and it can be nice stuff to clear campaign. So if you're going for Primalist, probably that's like the first part where you need to go. You just get some physical damage, Blood Boil, you clear like enemies a lot faster and you just go through campaign. Then we can get increased movement speed on the next branch over here. And after this we can get Ritual Sacrifice. I guess, yeah, that's the Ritual Sacrifice. We can steal modifiers from enemies for duration of 19 seconds at maximum level, by the way. So yeah, it could be a lot less in the campaign, and it's pretty fun to steal some modifiers. But again, it's pretty fun when you start clearing maps, probably not in the campaign. There's not a lot of elites to steal the modifiers, it takes some time, so it could be boring, but still, that's movement speed road to clear maps faster. And it will end with as the Whispers demand. Ritual Sacrifice can be used on yourself to remove 20% of maximum life to grant a random monster modifier. Maximum of 1 modifier can be granted this way. Oh, okay. So, Ritual Sacrifice will give you ability to sacrifice a corpse of rare monster to grant you its modifiers for duration. But when you finish this road, so when you get this node, and you get to Whisper's Demand, you basically can use it on yourself without any rare monsters, and you just get random monster modifier. Okay, that's pretty fun. It will be used for fun maybe when you just leveling your character, but it's not very useful in a lot of ways. We need to see what modifiers we can get, maybe there are some broken ones. Still, it's random, I guess there's a large pool, and here we can increase Charm Charge Gate. Charms right now is awful, I mean no one cares about them, but probably in this update they will have more meaning. Here we can have +1 charm slot, 20% more charm charges gained. Basically we're increasing our charges used. And Mind Phylacteries can instead consume 25% of maximum mana to trigger charms with insufficient charges. So this part is pretty defensive, and while on the paper right now, it looks like nothing useful. It actually can be pretty useful. So what developers said, that they will make sure at this point of time in Path of Exile 2 development, we will be afflicted with a lot more afflictions. So be prepared, there will be a lot of poisoning, maybe burning, maybe like shock conditions that will be applied to us. In this update, in just start of early access, honestly I was worried only about being frozen. Yeah, when you're frozen, you die pretty quickly, especially in tower maps, but right now it's fixed, and it can be fixed just with 1 charm slot. But if we will have more treats like burning guys guys who apply burning basically. Maybe charms will have a lot more meaning for our protection, and this can be really useful. We'll see. It will depend on balance a lot. So next branch will be life branch. It will increase life recovery rate and increase life recovery rate per missing life. And right now life is awful protective layer in current state of the game, but again, we don't know what will happen in patch 0.2, what other like balance changes we will have, and probably life will be a little bit better, and maybe life recovery will be really important for us, so we can make a high life character, high life Primalist, and especially with some bonuses from for example like rare monsters, we can increase our life, maybe like have more protection, run with this stuff, and it can be useful. But again, most of the time most players opt for just movement speed, damage, that's where most of players will go. But we don't know yet what's going on over here. So this is a choice, one of three, or maybe we can pick every node from here. So we have reduced mana, reduced spirit, or reduced resistance. Yeah, definitely you're not picking three of those, you're picking one. So you can reduce your mana, maybe you don't like to use skills that consume a lot of mana, maybe you're not using a lot of spirit, so you can reduce your spirit, or reduce elemental resistances if you have nice gear. Probably towards the end game you better just find good gear and just, you know, reduce your resistances. It will be fine. This is a big sacrifice. This is a big sacrifice. Big sacrifice for what? For this node. What this node will give us? Unflurred finger, +1 ring slot. Oh yeah, I know. I saw it in like announcement in teasers. So this is big. Basically we're getting one more ring slot. Just imagine you have 3 rings and they are buffed by ingenuity. You're getting so much power. Basically just forget about this debuffs. You just getting -15 to all elemental resistances, getting one ring with good resistance to all elemental resistances. You just counter this with one item slot, and now we got 3 rings. Rings is extremely OP, you can build like extremely OP characters. Here you will have increased attributes, attribute stacker Primalist, maybe not, but a little bit more attributes is never a bad idea. And increased bonuses gained from equipped rings and amulets, 25%. Okay, yeah, okay. I don't know. This sounds like an amazing character actually, and pretty fun character, probably. I don't know, looks pretty good. We're getting power like amulets, rings, that's big. Yeah, definitely. So probably this road to get more rings and amulets, more stats, more power, and maybe some protective layer like life recovery rate, or just physical damage bonus and movement speed with blood boil and ritual sacrifice. Maybe something like this will be a pretty nice setup for ritualist. So that's what Huntress ascensions, but we got new ascendancies for other classes, and let's go with my favorite Witch, who is now Lich. Enjoy this glorious lady. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, my kingdom visitors. So we got some cool zombies. This guy, skeleton or zombie, whoever he is really amazed by the new class, and finally some nice minion class. Infernalist already was pretty good, pretty powerful class, but what we got here? Some spider web of a lot of cool stuff and new type of Ascendancy Tree passive. So we'll start with this one. What Lich will give us? What Lich will present us with? It will present us with Energy Shield. Increase maximum Energy Shield. The best defensive layer right now is Energy Shield, and we can get it even higher as Mage class. This sounds great, especially as Mage class who specializes in some summoning, you know, in summoning skeletons, zombies, and guys like that. Basically undeads. And that's big. So we can be like very protected, and we can get crystalline phylactery. So we can socket one basic jewel, and we will have 100% increased effect of socketed jewels. I wonder how it will work. Based on the writing over here, as far as I can understand, you hear my potato English, you know, vegetable accent, but I guess at least I can understand what does this word means. So we have double effect of socketed jewels, but we can socket only one jewel, as far as I can see. This means probably we can increase power of all socketed jewels along the passive skill tree. Only in my dreams, of course, but maybe it will be most broken passive of them all. We will have more mana cost if we have no energy shield, so we need to be protected, but again, if you have no energy shield, probably you're already dead as someone who is playing mage or summoner. So that's fine, and you're not like using mana a lot, you're not using mana basically. As this, probably I will play this without any skills. I will just use mana as health, energy shield is another protective layer, and my zombies will do the job. And here I will place some jewels that will increase critical damage for my minions, and they will become broken, something like this. So left or right? There's less parts on the right, let's go to the right. We will have energy shield if consumed power charges. What does it mean? We'll have more energy shield if we consume power charges recently. Recently means 4 seconds. 4 seconds means we need to like have a build that can consume power charges every 4 seconds. That's a lot. And this is only traveling node to price of power. Non-channeling spells consume power charges to deal 25% more damage. Again, that's a big stuff, but you need to find a way how you can accumulate these power charges constantly. If you will be able to make a build that can accumulate power charges constantly, then you will be able to deal 25% more damage, and more means a lot. More means you will have multiplied damage. Basically, that's a big buff for our damaging build. So right part will give us life, traveling nodes, 3% increased maximum life, that's fine, and it will give us soulless form, so 10% of damage taken bypasses energy shield, and we won't have mana regeneration, inherent mana regeneration. But we will regenerate mana equal to 6% of maximum life per second. So this part will basically tell us go get more life, and therefore we will have more mana regeneration, and this can make pretty interesting build. So we will focus on life, total life, maximum life, and maybe life regeneration as protective layer, or maybe we will take damage from mana instead of life as protective layer, and therefore we will have like 2 protective layers, but I don't think so. And also your life cannot change while you have energy shield. That's pretty cool one. So your life cannot change while you have energy shield is a big one, can be very big one. Why? Because there's a node that gives us ability to use life instead of mana for casting spells. So now you can use eternal life, and basically you won't use life while we have an energy shield. We can make such like crazy, insanely overpowered dude, but it will be hard and gear will cost a fortune probably. We'll see. So then we have increased maximum energy shield over here also. We can, so right part basically a lot of life, left part energy shield. And here, as far as I can understand, there's basically like damaging part when you building Lich as caster. And what we will have here? Here we will have non-channeling spells cost additional 3% of maximum energy shield. They deal 30% more damage, and spending energy shield does not interrupt recharge. And this means basically we can build nice high energy shield guy who deals around like 50%, 55% more damage when he consumed power charge recently. It's interesting, need to theory craft a little bit, but we need to see 100% new, just 100 more support gems, yeah. More than 100 support gems. There's a new one. There's a lot of new support gems coming in upcoming update, and this will maybe make a lot of builds viable. Maybe we can accumulate power charges when we applying damage over time effects, something like this, and this will work. So then we get like top part. Top part will have increased maximum mana with necromantic conduit. Your allies in your presence have unholy might while you are on low mana. Lose 5% of mana per second. Basically, that's probably the build I will go for. Necromantic Conduit will give our allies Unholy Might, and we will lose mana per second. This means basically we will be losing mana all the time, and we need to play builds that not using mana, that just spams mana potions to stay on high mana. And Unholy Might is a buff that grants 30% of all damage as extra chaos damage. Yeah, we can build pretty crazy and powerful minions. And this can be a pretty fun build. Minion build can be really nice and powerful over here. So I wonder if we will have some regeneration. No, we will have ability to apply additional curse. Your curses can affect hexproof enemies. That's nice one, nice one. And also we will have ability to curse enemies and they will explode with a chance around us. And also Blackened Heart. Increased magnitude of Unholy Might buffs you grant per mana. So we built insane amount of extra mana. And for example, like normal good late game mage will have around like 3k mana, maybe. Like let's get 3k. 1000 mana will increase magnitude of Unholy Might by 40%. This means 3k mana will increase it by 120%. And basically we will have 60% of all damage as extra chaos damage. This can make a really crazy unholy army. And this will solve a lot of problems with, for example, pure lightning skeleton builds. When you're using only lightning skeletons, they are fine, but then you will find some elites that got protection from lightning and it takes a little bit more time to defeat them. But now you will deal 60% of damage as extra chaos damage. That can be a really scary summoner. We'll see, we'll see. The next one is Smiths of Kitava. Yeah, a lot of stuff here. Let's take a look to the left first. So to the left we got increased fire damage and grand skill, fire spell on hit. Sounds cool. Fire spell on hit. So basically we hit enemies, we deal some fire spells. I don't know. Maybe it's like some spirit power gem, but it should not use spirit actually if it's like... No, it can use spirit. Why not? So probably we will get ability to actually fight with our weapon, and we will infuse basically this skill over here, Heat of the Forge, with some fire spells, maybe like Fireball or Volcano, and every time we hit enemies we will spawn volcanoes of like fireballs everywhere. Maybe it will be like really fun. We need to find out in the game. So here we can increase our fire resistance, followed by Coal Stoker. Modifiers to fire resistance also grant cold and lightning resistance and 50% of their value. Again, pretty nice. It will save us a lot of like equipment. We can get nice fire resistance, therefore we will have pretty okayish cold and lightning resistance. So with maxed out fire resistance, we will have cold and lightning after we end campaign at 0%. That's basically how it works. And that's pretty okay. It's not like OP in final form builds, but it's cool. So then we will have increased melee damage over here, and therefore there should be like nice damaging skill. It will be a skill temper weapon. Basically you stand still, you summon anvil and you temper your weapon. It will deal more damage, I guess. It's pretty okay-ish stuff. And there's also minion build for this dude. Minion damage, minion deals 20% increased damage, and grant skill manifest weapon. Basically, if you're going for warrior and you got bored of this slow attack with your mace, you can go and opt in for this part over here. You will have more damage for your minions, and your minion will be your weapon. How it works, developers showed us already. Basically, you summon the weapon. Yeah, you just summon the weapon, the same weapon you're using, and it will fight along your side. But considering you can increase this weapon damage by using some passive skill tree points with increased minion damage, probably you can make some fun builds with it. Maybe I will do. Maybe I won't do any like fighter builds with this dude. I will just go in and use him as summoner. Maybe it will be fun. What do you think, bro? We'll find out. And last skill over here is Forge in Flame. Modifiers to maximum fire resistance also grant maximum cold and lightning resistance. Okay, what does it mean? Basically, you don't need any other resistances on your gear. You can just go over here and max out your fire resistance, and then you will get the same cold and lightning resistance. This will free up some equipment slots, so you can get like nice chaos resistance, for example, and some stats, attributes, but I don't know if he will need attributes, but that's fine. So what we have here? Here we got Smith's Masterwork. Can only use normal body weapon, body armor of course, this passive skill is free to allocate. Basically, you can pick one of these multiple options over here. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff, and when they showcased, they missed bottom ones. Let's see what we can get. We can have plus 5% to maximum fire resistance. That's definitely not worse to have as a skill that will block you from using rare magic, unique body armors. Then we get Infernal Layer. Body armor grants hits against you have 50% reduced critical damage bonus. Oh, that's weak. I mean, we can use get same bonuses, almost same bonuses with runes, you know, but runes just adding stuff to your armor, not taking away. Body armor grants 25% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. That can be good with nice fire resistance, but only if you can get like 2 of those, maybe like maximum fire resistance and 25% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. But what with other damage? I don't know. Doesn't sound like really cool. Regenerate 5% of life per second, 75% to lightning resistance, 20% increased strength, 15% increased maximum life. I guess you can equip only normal body armor, but then you can enchant it with any of the skills however you like. So we can craft like our perfect armor. We can have 75% of fire resist, unaffected by ignite, 100% increased stun threshold, body armor grants cold resistance. So we can basically get like all resistances over here at 75%. We can have protection from chaos damage from hits, but I don't know. While this sounds interesting at least, it doesn't sound like a really powerful option. I mean, we can just have some fire resistance over here, have 50% of fire resistance converted to cold and lightning. We can have like increased fire damage, fire spell on hit, and temper weapon, and be fine with cool and powerful armor. Not like super OP class, but pretty interesting to find out what he can do. As well as our friend Tactician. So it's not him, he is not Tactician, he is Tactician. Mercenary. If you're playing with party with friends, if one of you will play Tactician, it's pretty cool because he can buff your party. Let's see how he can do it. So, what he can do over here. Let's go from the right side as always. Totem damage, increased totem damage, and cannons ready. Totems have 30% more skill speed. Totems only use skills when you fire an attack projectile. So, what is our totems? Our totems is basically ballista, yeah. As Tactician you can summon ballista, as Witch Hunter you summon ballista, basically as Mercenary with a crossbow you can summon ballista, but there's no skills that gives ballista power right now. But in 0.2 here you see some skills. So we can increase minion damage, and also we have supporting fire. So this skill pretty fun. You like ask archers and they cover wall screen in arrows. It's pretty cool, it's pretty fun looking. I don't know how powerful it will be, but we'll see. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Is ballista actually a totem or ballista only a minion? There is actually like supporting fire over here. So level 20, no buttons over here, no damage numbers actually. Oh, okay, so it will be minion. Yeah, supporting fire is minion, and basically they will have increased damage equal to 1% per 3 of our strength. That sounds pretty cool for stat stacker like Tactician, you know, he can stat stack and get a lot of stats, a lot of strength, and then probably just run around and supporting fire will destroy everyone in the presence. So what we will have here? Here we will have increased armor and evasion, increasing our stun and ailment threshold by our armor and evasion, and also we will defend with 200% of our armor. Enemies will have accuracy penalty against us based on distance, and maximum evade chance is 50%, maximum physical damage reduction is 50%. Okay, that's like protective layer, pretty boring and blatant. Here we will have projectile damage builds pin. Pin is really powerful stuff in campaign, but later in the game pin is not really powerful. You just basically pin enemies in one place. But what we will have here we will have increased pin build up, that's fine. And most importantly, this stuff. Pin will basically fall off in the late game. Because, you know, when enemies stand still but also can like shoot fireballs at you that will one-shot you, it's not cool. But here we will have pinned enemies cannot perform actions. And this is big, so we can pin bosses, they will stand still, we can then electrocute them, for example, and then freeze them. It will be like insane loop of disabling of all bosses. And this can be useful if you're going for like Tactician with a bow and multiple elemental skills. And here at the bottom we have increased spirit, but what we need the spirit for? Probably for this node. So here we will have a solid plan, yeah. Persistent buff, have 50% less reservation. Okay, basically all herald skills, all other stuff that got buff in it will have less reservation by 50%, and we will have increased spirit. That's pretty cool. So we can't play minion builds, but we can play nice buff builds. Probably like something like totems, you know. I know that like Mercenary can place like Commander Standard or something like this. You know, this flags on the battlefield that will buff your party, so probably it will be very useful for stuff like this. So we will have increased presence area of effect to buff our allies, for example, with watch how you do it. That's the buff part. That's why everyone builds like suggest you to play this class with your party. Allies in your presence gain added attack damage equal to 25% of your main hand weapons damage. And why it's big? Because allies is also allied summons, as far as I can understand mechanics of the game. And this means you can play, for example, one guy playing this like crazy Lich with Unholy Might that gives like with Blackened Heart 60% of extra damage as chaos damage to your minions, and minions will melt everyone. But also at the same time you got this guy who's shouting on these minions, and these minions will have added attack damage equal to 25% of our main hand weapon damage. And you just get something like, for example, two-handed mace with 1 million damage, and they will have just a ridiculous amount of damage. They will have just a ridiculous amount of damage, and you can go AFK and these minions will destroy every boss. It can be fun, but what is more fun is new legendaries. Let's go into full screen right now probably and see. So we already saw this legendary shield. It will be quick, just a few new stuff of the update. And this shield is strength based shield with nice resistance to fire, chaos, with increased armor. It's high level, so it's nice armor actually. And most importantly, it will have 1% of damage as fire damage per chance to block. Basically, you're building high block chance guy, and this shield will have nice block chance, like 26%, and you can increase it by some supportive nodes and other stuff, and you will have extra damage as fire damage, which is really cool. Also, a shield looking pretty cool. There's candles, pentagram. It's devilish cool shield in my opinion. So the next one, the next one is big. Coming Calamity Heroic Armor. It's also late game-ish. Level 84, requires strength and dexterity, so it's armor evasion rating armor, and it will give you Herald of Ash, Ice and Thunder at level 19, maximum level, with extra maximum life, and even this is enough to consider this armor as insanely cool. But it also giving you bonus to elemental resistances, and big bonus 40%, as well as enemies in our presence will have no elemental resistances. So this means basically we can completely ignore all like monk passive skill tree nodes and have insane amount of power. As far as I can understand mechanics, we also will have ability to have some slots for these heralds, and if we will have at least 3 slots for each herald. We don't need 4, we don't need 5, we just need at least 3. Even 2 will be okay, but 3 will be just perfect. We can build insanely cool and overpowered guys, and what we get in over here is 90 spirit. Again, normal monk build will give you around 250 spirit with a good armor, but this stuff right here can give us extra like different builds, and it looks pretty cool. So then we get like mid-game-ish spear. It's unique spear, so it's for the Huntress, for Amazon, for Primalist, wherever you will pick as Ascendancy, and it's just physical, fire damage, chance to cause bleeding on hit, which is great, so you will have chance to basically destroy enemies with fire, with bleeding effect, and if you get the spear when you first play in campaign, you actually will be amazed how well you can deal with bosses with damage over time effects. Also, this weapon will have aggravating any bleeding. With this weapon also aggravates all ignites on the target. 10% chance to aggravate bleeding on hit and cannot use projectile attacks. So you will basically be forced to play in the melee range, but again, you will have so many damage over time that interacts with itself, and it's pretty fun and interesting to see how this will perform as melee Huntress. But as range Huntress, you definitely will be amazed how powerful you can be with new bucklers. So bucklers is a shield basically, but it uses evasion rating as main defensive stat. Yeah, now you not only can block damage, which blocks damage completely, you just get take 0 damage technically, and evasion rating is also avoidance, so that's crazy how powerful this shield can be. And what we can have over here, we can have some mana, intelligence, evasion rating, but also we will have skill parry. Now we will have ability to parry attacks. It's pretty easy, you don't need to time it, and you will deal some nice damage to enemies. Another new stuff is the Waste Gate Heavy Belt that gives some maximum life, maximum mana, but most importantly life and mana flasks can be equipped in either slot. So with this belt you can just use 2 life flasks if you don't need mana, and vice versa. I don't know which builds actually will benefit from this, but probably the best users of this armor piece will be mages when they leveling and when they building their character to maximum power. So best belt still probably is Ingenuity, at least for now, but this belt is very good option before you get to Ingenuity, because you can use your mana as your health, and when you're using your mana as your health, what's happening, basically you're equipping 2 mana potions, and then you just only use mana potions, and you will have like 20 mana potions, you will have unlimited health basically. Then we will have Beer Anguish Dosing Charm. What is this? It's new charm, so it's used on your belt and used when you become ignited. I guess we will become ignited a lot more often in this update. Considering right now we're becoming ignited like never, we will be ignited at least sometime probably. And ignite, what will happen? We will ignite enemies in presence as so, dealing fire damage equal to 25% of your maximum life when used. That can be good. That can be good on some fire builds, on like maybe this dude with fire build also will benefit from this to increase his damage, his clear speed. But that's all new Ascendancies and all new skills you need to know about in the upcoming league. So I hope you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and see you in the next ones.